Hey guys, what's up? It is 1:43 a.m. Can you believe this? So I was kind of gonna go to sleep and then I'm like, no, let's film a video. For today's video, as you guys saw from the title, I'm going to be doing a first impressions on the Too Faced Christmas Cookie House Party Limited Edition Makeup Collection. I still did not open this up. I'm gonna do that on camera with you guys. The only thing I did was fill in my brows and then I put on foundation, concealer, and then set my face. Just because this does come with a little face palette, an eyeshadow palette, mascara, primer, and a lip product. So we're gonna do that all in this video. Firstly, this does retail for 58 bucks. I will have it linked down below if you guys want to pick it up for yourselves. It is available on Too Faced site, I believe, and Sephora site. Yeah. Once you open up this kit, the two pieces that are on top here are the lip product and then the Shadow Insurance primer. So we'll get started with these soon. But what I'm really excited about is like just to see what this is about, because I still didn't even open it up yet. Look how adorable. It's situated so cutely, just like a gingerbread house. Okay, so what's pretty cool and neat, I should say, is that this whole gingerbread house is magnetic. So you can kind of just put the pieces together and then you have yourself a little cute house. This kind of comes off, this comes off, and then this is its own piece as well. I love like the versatility of this because each piece is its own vibe and you can just grab one and go, use them all together. I like that. Too Faced killed it this time with the packaging. So cute, and it has like this, like a little bit of like a bouncy-ish feel. Okay, so firstly, the eyeshadow palette is made in China, as well as the face palette, and then this little palette is also made in China. Most of the time their products are made in the US, so just have that in mind. First thing we're gonna tackle is this. So cute. It definitely has a very winter vibe to it, and I mean, we're barely in the fall, so I feel you on that. Once you open it up, like a whiff of cocoa just comes straight to your nose. I think, yeah. It has like a gingerbread cocoa-ish kind of scent. So you basically get a highlighter, a blush, and a bronzer, and as I mentioned to you guys, I only did my base. I didn't do highlighter, brush, and bronzer, so we're gonna do that in a second. Next, we get this little bibby, and this is just like a little pocket-sized palette. It is gorgeous. You get 6 different eyeshadows in there. We'll get more in depth with this in a few moments, but it says this, 'tis the season to sparkle. Also has great packaging. There are 4 metallics in here and 2 mattes with no mirror. And then we get the big daddy of all, which is the eyeshadow palette. And it's really pretty. Wow. So with this one also, there is no mirror. Does this go all the way back? Yeah, I love that. And then we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 different eyeshadows that are included in here. And just looking at it, honestly, I feel like it's pretty different than what they typically release. Like, I'm not getting the same vibe as I got last year holiday, you know? It's very pretty. It looks really good. There's a selection of mattes, metallics, satins. This looks amazing. Wow, I love the color story. It's very unique. Let's go ahead and swatch all of them first. So right off the bat, the bronzer definitely is very piecey, meaning like there's a lot of kick up, but these 3 powders do seem like they're pretty pigmented. I would say the weakest is probably the blush, the strongest is probably the bronzer, the highlighter is in between, I should say. It's a pretty cool shade. It's like a peachy gold. But yeah, these are the 1 swipe swatches each. Not bad. Okay, so most of the brushes I'm going to use are from the Morphe and Jaclyn collection. You guys know I love these. I've been using them for quite some time and they just never fail. Okay, so it's picking up really nicely on the brush. The bronzer, right? I'm kind of scared. It's like really pigmented. Oh! Yeah, so I would say this definitely has more of like a warmer undertone to it. Not really cool toned. I don't necessarily contour lately. I just bronze my skin. I don't know. I don't have patience doing both, you know what I'm saying? So this is typically what I like to do. I do my forehead, my cheek, and then I'll kind of clean it up. But it's very pigmented, like beyond. And you guys know I already go very heavy-handed with my bronzer. So I would say if you're a light hand, you literally want to put your brush in there like a dot and then kind of apply it on the face. So I think it did blend out pretty nicely. I feel like it kind of got a little bit messy. So I'm just going to use a little bit of a loose translucent powder and kind of cut it a little bit so it's not like all over the place. So next, I'm going to go in with the blush. It's a beautiful, pretty nice rosy-ish type of shade, so I feel like it would really work for a ton of different skin tones. With this, I'm going to use a JH06 brush. The previous brush was a JH02 brush. So how I like to apply my blush is I do kind of like a fake smile situation, like, and Just kind of apply it on the apples of my cheek, going upwards towards the bronzer. It's very pretty. It's very pigmented. I don't feel like you need to go in a second time. And then I also kind of like to just brush the remaining on the tip of my nose just for like that cutesy, like flushed look, you know. Okay, next we're gonna go in with this highlighter called Get Frosted. This we're gonna use on a JH30. Let's see. I would probably say that the highlighter is probably the most tightly packed. Let's see. Yeah, it's very pigmented, you guys can see. Very interesting shade. These are not the shades that I typically go for, but I think it still looks really pretty, and I could see myself using this. Tip of my nose. I shaved my mustache, so you feel me? So I would say right off the bat, I think that this is nice. I think that if you are heavy-handed like me, just be careful with the bronzer. The blush seems like it's perfectly pigmented, like not too pigmented, but not pigmented. They're both matte finishes, and then the highlighter has a really gorgeous sheen to it, and I feel like it's perfectly pigmented. Like even if you go heavy, it's not gonna look heavy. It blends out really nicely too, and it's pretty cool. Not bad. I like that. All right. Now, as for the eyeshadows, I'm just thinking what I kind of want to use. A part of me kind of just wants to use this baby, but then I feel like most people would kind of want to see what the story of this is, you know? So let me go ahead and do swatches for this little guy. So here's what the baby palette looks like up close. The 4 top shades seem like they're more of like a heavy metallic finish, and then these 2 are mattes. Okay, I see where you're coming from. So these are definitely like loose glitters, I should say. A little bit similar to the formula of the Pretty Rich palette, but I feel like this definitely has more of like a textured feel. It doesn't have as much of a bouncy jelly-ish feel, you know what I mean? They do pick up really nicely on the fingers, but they are very textured. I don't know if it's gonna have that scratchy-ish feel on the eye. You're probably gonna have to use this with glue. It's like, okay, swatch it already. Let's see. So yeah, here's one swipe swatches. It's the kind of product that I would probably dab on the eye. I wouldn't necessarily swipe it on because I feel like I would want a lot of pigment, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, here are how 4 of those shades look. Wipe this on my pants. It's okay, I'm wearing pajamas. Then I love the fact that they included 2 mattes, and they're not just any mattes, they're like the essential mattes that one would possibly need to create like that transition effect in the crease, and then one can kind of go in with like, you know, one of these shades on the lids, which I think is pretty neat because they could have thrown in random shades here and it would have been like, what is this palette, you know? But I like that they kind of like thought it out. Anyways, here are what those 2 shades look like. So with Too Faced and their browns, I kind of get a little bit like ugh about it because some of their browns are really amazing, but then some of their browns, like they don't really blend out so easily. Just from swatching this one, it doesn't seem like super like consistent. But yeah, I'll have to keep you guys posted on this, possibly in a different video, because I do want to play around with this one. It's so gorgeous. I think that there are so many like iridescent shades in here, especially this Tinseltown. It's so pretty, so beautiful. I think they did an excellent job at curating this palette because look at the shades, they're just so different. Come on, aren't they different? Don't tell me they're the same. Don't tell me they're the same. I'm gonna get started with swatches of this palette. We'll do 2 swipe swatches with the music and all of that, and then I'll be back to share a look with you guys. Yeah. Really am very impressed. If this kit wouldn't be screaming holiday 2019, I would think that this is just one of their regular releases, like one of their great, wonderful releases, like maybe like the Too Faced gingerbread palette or like the chocolate palettes, you know what I'm saying? These swatched like a dream. I think the color story is pretty unique. There are some pops of colors, but then you're neutral, so you can kind of go, you know, more neutral, or you can go colorful if you want to, but there's still kind of like a wearable vibe to this palette. These are with 2 swipe swatches each, no games, no fuss, no kick up with any of these shades, no streakiness, no scratchiness. What the hell is this? I have no idea, honestly. I'm telling you, I feel like Too Faced and Tarte progressively get better and better year after year, because the quality of their palette like 4 years ago was like, I don't know, like -500 compared to this. And I think they also did an amazing job by curating this palette with various different finishes. Like we have some that are like thicker glittery finishes, for example this gorgeous white shade here, but it doesn't have like a piecey feel to it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's cool. And then we have some like duochrome, so like, you know, depending on which way you move, you'll see a different like color. It's pretty. We have some regular satins in here, a nice amount of mattes, metallics, and then I would say the only one that's like a matte with like glitter is this, which I find interesting when they do, because I'm kind of like, why? I don't tend to use such shades often, but it's still pretty smooth in consistency. Like there wasn't any streakiness with this hot and cold shade. It's cool. It's like a black with bluish silver situations in there. But yeah, I'm just like excited. I don't know. Who are you? So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some of the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I usually don't use primers, honestly, but I am gonna use it for the sake of the video, not because I don't really believe in them. I just find it to be a little bit of an extra step at times. But yeah, let me use for the sake of the video, basically. Blend this out. I haven't used this in years, and it feels so yummy on the eyes. Like, that's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, so I see that there's a shade in here called Cream Filling, which is this one right over here. It's not a purely white shade, it's more of like a off-white type of color, but I think that would be perfect to set the lids with, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I mentioned this in a different video, but I love when Too Faced includes such shades. It just makes things so much easier. I mean, I obviously can go in with like a loose powder, which I typically do when I don't have such creamy shades in palettes, but like it's nice to know that everything, like it's all in one. It's like the small things in life, plus the big things. But you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what kind of look I'm gonna go for. I mean, I say the same thing every time, but I'll try to do something different, not be the same girl time and time again. I'm going with the shade What a Batch. I'm gonna go in with the shade What a Batch. It's like a nice camely type of color, great initial shade to use for the transition area. And I'm gonna use this on the same brush I just used, JH30. I mentioned this in a different video as well, but I have bigger eyes, as you guys can clearly see. And I just like this brush because I feel like it kind of covers a lot of surface area quickly. And I'm all about that kind of life. And I think it's also a really great brush to use after you've set down all the eyeshadows, just to kind of blend everything out even more so it looks a bit more seamless. This is like the perfect brush. It's like my dream brush of life. But ironically, we're gonna have to talk right now. Ironically, when I purchased this kit, this was the brush that I looked at and I was like, what do I need this brush for? It's always those brushes that I look at and I'm like, no. That I happen to use more than the other ones that are included, you know? And so yes, I'm just gonna build this up just kind of messily. Next shade I'm gonna go in with is Oh Snap, which is this one right over here. It's a little bit deeper than this one, a lot more deeper. It has more of like a chocolatey undertone to it. That I'm gonna use on this dirty ass brush, but we're just gonna wipe it. This is a JH32 brush, and just kind of do the same motions as I did with the previous shade. You know what's funny? A lot of times when I like play around with palettes, the main few shades I gravitate towards are like these kind of brown tones. And it's kind of like, why are you doing the same shit? You know what I mean? And then ironically though, before I got into makeup, like it was really hard for me to kind of like combine colors. I was always looking at a palette and I'm like, what shades do you put together? Like, who knows these things, you know? And here we are today. So that blended out really nicely. I have to give it to it. We're on a good note. Next shade I'm gonna go in with is Nooks and Cranberries, which is this shade right over here. It's like a burgundy type of color, a cranberry type of shade, I should say. And I'm gonna take it on the same brush, the JH32. I'm just gonna try to build up to see like, you know, where I end up being out the door. Each shade is picking up really nicely on the brush as well. I didn't mention that, but a little bit of kick up once I kind of like bang the brush, you know, bang, you know, tap the brush. But that's like with any shadow. Okay, and with this shade, I really don't know what I'm doing exactly, but I think I'm just gonna probably put it on top of like the brown to get a little bit more of like a cranberry vibe going on. So a lot of times I'll just kind of situate the color down there, wipe the brush so there isn't a lot of product on the brush, and then kind of blend from there, because once I situated the amount of color I need, I don't want to keep building up, you know what I mean? Then it kind of gets messy. Secret Santa, what is it, Santa or Santa? I'm gonna go in with that shade to deepen the crease up, the outer V just a little bit more, and then after that we'll be done with that part and we're gonna do the inner part of the eye. And then with that I think I'm gonna go in with the same brush, JH32. I just want it to be really like dramatic. So this look turned out a bit more brownish than I expected. I wanted it to be maybe a bit more colorful-y. For the lower lash line, I'm gonna go in with the shade That's My Jam, which is the only purple that's included in the palette. I kind of like that. Anyway, I'm gonna buff that out on my lower lash line with a JH39 brush. I built up that purple shade, That's My Jam, about 3 times on the lower lash line, blend it out like this. Very, very simple. I'm gonna take this off. I forgot about this. Usually I don't like to keep it on for that long because then it kind of leaves like a line on my face. So I just try to blend it into like my bronzer and all of that. I will say that, I don't know, I feel like the bronzer kind of settled in a little bit. You know what it is? I feel like when I initially went in with the bronzer, it was like too much, too fast, because my eyes weren't done, nothing else was done. But now that I kind of feel like the eye look is coming together, it's kind of like, it's all working out. For the lids, I want to use a shade Get Elfed Up, which is this beautiful green. I don't think I've ever done this kind of combination where I use this greenish type of shade with like brownish crease. So I'm pretty much just going to put it on the inner third. Whoa! You saw that. It's very pretty. It's very pigmented. Yeah, so I like to just kind of like dot it down, right? After that, I'll pick up a little bit more on a brush. This is the JH41. It picks up okayly on the brush, not like amazingly. So I'll start on the inner corner and start upwards and then blend it outwards. But yeah, like I mentioned, since I have larger eyes, I like to go up to the crease with this, with like the shade that I'm going in with on the lids. Why do I feel like I hear shit? Okay, it's building up very nicely. Next, I'm gonna go in with the shade Snowflake, which is this, like, I wouldn't say chunky white, but it has a little bit more of a thickness to it. It's like a white with like an undertone of gold. I'm gonna take it on the same brush and I'm gonna attempt to highlight my brow bone with this as well as my inner corner, even though it might be a bit much, but we shall see. Yes, I wouldn't say this is the best highlighting shade just because there's noticeable glitter. Yeah, it's not gonna work out. Okay, it's not gonna work out. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I'm just gonna go in with the shade Icing on Top, which is this one. It'll probably be the only shade I would highlight with because there's no other shade in here that's like champagne-y whitish. That's like the lightest highlighting shade, I should say. So I'm gonna, I guess, highlight with this a little. It's a little bit too dark for my skin tone, so I probably would normally not do this. But you know what? I'm gonna put it here too. So it just looks like a different kind of look. I put on my lashes, did my mascara. That is pretty much it for the eyes. For lips, I'm gonna use the liquid lipstick that was included in this kit, Gingerbread Man. This is the man of my dreams, by the way. But I'm gonna use the one that I have in the full size and keep this one brand new. But yeah, I'm gonna probably gift this to a friend or something, or maybe keep it in my collection because I need to have every man of my life in my dreams. So I'm gonna use this on the lips. They re-released this for this year and I'm so happy that they did it because it's a gorgeous terracotta and I feel like a lot of you guys compliment me to no end when I wear this. It smells like gingerbread goodness, and then the packaging is heavenly. You pretty much just need to pull it out once, and that's all the product you need. Okay, I definitely feel like a woman. I do not know if this eye look goes with this lip color because I feel like it's, you know, two dramatic worlds. But I will say this palette is stunning. It's so simple and easy to work with. Very much so of a breeze. They swatched gorgeously, and that kind of translated on the eyes, like literally with no fuss. I know that Too Faced is coming out with so many different holiday like eyeshadow palettes for like, you know, the holiday season, and it's so hard to choose like, okay, which one do I want? I think that if you're gonna get one and you want to get the most for your money, this would be a good kit. But I would probably also recommend the Buttered Rum palette because it's a small little one. It's like includes 8 different eyeshadows for 25 bucks. The Gingerbread Extra Spicy eyeshadow palette I love, but I don't think it's super unique. I think that this is definitely more than more on the unique side. I also love the fact that everything is magnetic, so it's literally like a gingerbread house, and it's just cutesy. And then we also get a bonus of the lip product, the primer, and then the Better Than Sex mascara. So far I really like this set. I want to play around with it a little bit more, so I'm gonna do so for the remaining of the week. But that's pretty much it for the eyes. I hope you guys enjoyed. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this look. Let me know what you think about it. If you think like no, or if you think like yeah. I'm looking forward to reading your comments down below, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.